What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew. This is Ball Hawk, Falter Malafano of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, woo! Back at you all. Hey, you gotta love Dan Skipper there. Welcome to Lions Talk Live. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I'm coming at you with something a little bit different today. Not just Detroit Lions news, but as we all know, we're less than a week from the start of the NFL season. We are, whatever amount of days until the Green Bay Packers play. We get Thursday night, we get Friday night, and we get Sunday night football. Roughly, a weekend, 2 hours away from where we are right now. The Detroit Lions will be warming up on Ford Field, getting ready to take on Matt Stafford, the former quarterback for the Detroit Lions, and the Los Angeles Rams. So I wanted to do this. I've spent about a week or so working on this and watching a whole lot of film. I've been talking to everybody who's a Lions Talk Live fan saying, hey, I've been working on a couple stuff for the holiday weekend, a little bit later in the day, things that when I know that guys, have a little bit more time. All right, enough of the jibber jabber real quick. Let's get into it. So how this is going to work. I've done a detailed analyzation of as much film as I possibly can on a lot of these guys. So I'm going to rank all four teams. I'm going to go through their positions. I'm going to give you a ranking. Here's the best quarterback in the league, the number 4 running back in the league as far as the NFC North. Here's the secondaries, all that kind of stuff. So I haven't done this since last year, so my notes and everything, went through a whole lot of revisions, etc. And I know there'll be some things to debate. If you have questions, by all means, throw them in the comments section below. But let's not waste a whole lot of time. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to start with the defense and work my way backwards to the quarterback positions. Again, if you guys have questions, ask, and I'll explain some of this stuff as I go through it. And yes, I'm going to let you know ahead of time, I'm going to make mistakes. All right, so here we go. Strong safeties or, up safeties, however you really want to term them. Everybody's got different terminologies. I'm just going to go with some very basic ones when analyzing all these. All right, so as you can see on the screen, you have Brian Branch as your number 1 overall strong safety in the NFC North, according to me. And the reasons why, I think he's got playmaker ability. I think he's got coverage ability, and he can hit. So basically, he can play every aspect of the D that you could ask him. Can he play zone coverage? Yes. Can he play man coverage? Yes. Can he cover a wide receiver? Yes. Can he, cover a tight end? Yes. Can he come out and cover a running back? Yes. Can he play single high safety? Can he play drop safety? He can play anywhere across the board. He can play weak side backer, outside corner, slot corner, deep high single, safety. So because of that, I gave him a score of 90. Now, let's real quick talk about this. I try to make the terms as user-friendly as possible. I tried to go, since most people have grown up with Madden football, I try to keep it as close to that as possible because I figured the vast majority of people are going to be able to understand it. So I gave everybody a score from 1 to 100. And no, nobody on here is going to have probably below a 70, maybe 1 or 2 guys in the 60s. So what this means is if you're 90 or above, you're elite. You're one of the premium players in the entire NFL, not just the NFC North. If you're 80 or above, you are above average player. You're a very good player, especially the closer you get to 90. If you're in the 70s, you're acceptable. You're probably more of a role player, etc. If you're in the 60s or 50s, you're probably more of a backup player, developmental player, maybe a special teams player. All right, we got those out of the way. Smith, Minnesota, 85. Brisker, Bears, 83. Billard, Minnesota, 77. So let's go from strong safety to free safety. All right, number 1, McKinney, Packers, 87. Byard, Bears, that's 90. So I'm sorry, I messed that up. He should be number 1, and then the Packers guy should be number 2. So apologies there. And let me go to my notes here because I noticed I left somebody else out. Like I said, I was scrambling to get this all done in time. So let me, Byard from the Bears should be number 1 on there. Packers, McKinney, number 2 at 87. Let's see, Byram from the, Minnesota Vikings, 80. And then, 80, not 79. And then 78 should be Joseph from Detroit. So sorry I messed that up. And again, making some mistakes here. And I did warn you guys ahead of time there would be mistakes. All right, going into the cornerback room, and let me talk about the corners a little bit more once I give out the scores here. Number one, Packers, Alexander, he's near perfect. You watch him, there's not much he really can't do, and again, at a very high elite level, so I gave him a 95. Johnson, Bears, a 90, so both of them, in my opinion, are elite. There's nothing in the game they really can't do. You're really getting nitpicky when analyzing them. Davis from the Detroit Lions, 85. I think he's dang good and solid. The only thing I really knocked him down on was just some of his closing speed. If somebody gets past the press on him, he can be got by some speed demon with some strength. Then Murphy Jr. from Minnesota at the 80s. So since most of you are Lions fans, I want to go ahead and cover this. As far as just the NFC North and just the safety, or excuse me, the cornerback room, I actually have the Lions with the best overall cornerback room. So I gave them on a scale from 1 to 10 is just as far as their depth for the North, and I'll do this with a couple of different positions where most teams are obviously going to use more than one guy. The Lions overall have a grade I gave of 79. So that means almost all their guys are very good level players. And obviously Davis is going to chip that up a little bit more. Rakestraw I knocked down a little bit, mostly because he's a rookie, right? But Robertson I had at an 82. Arnold I have as a 79. He could obviously be higher, but since he's a rookie, he hasn't actually played a real NFL game yet, I didn't give him a higher grade just from what I could watch in college and what I've been able to watch through joint practices with the New York Football Giants plus their exhibition game. Conversely, from there, the next group out there was the Bears. I had them at number 2 overall based on their depth. Minnesota Vikings were 4, and the Packers were 3. Packers, there's a noticeable drop-off from their top guys to their other guys. So I really think while Alexander is an incredible corner, the rest of their guys can be got. The Chicago Bears, I think they've got some real solid players there, but you get past their top 2, that's where I think they start really dropping off. The Detroit Lions, I think, man, if somebody goes out, there's not a huge difference between guy number 1 and guy number 5. And that's a credit to the Detroit Lions. So while we're all talking about air traffic control, no flying zone for Detroit, with so much of this being younger talent, I really think the middle of the season or the end of the season, when we review these numbers, Detroit might be number 1, but they might have more top flight players. All right, going to right outside linebacker, we're going to go with number 1 overall, the Bears. That's Edwards. And then a tie with Anzalone, Walker, and Grenard from Minnesota, all with 80s. I just didn't think there was any discernible difference between any of them. So while the Bears do have the best right outside linebacker, it's not a massive difference between him and most of the other guys in the division. He is clearly better, mind you, but he's not noticeably better. And again, going back to Anzalone, Walker, and Grenard, they all have their strengths and weaknesses. They're all very sound players. It's just none of them are elite. Maybe that's a fair way to put it. All right, and inside linebacker, middle linebacker, green dot guy, whoever you want to call him. We have Edmonds, number 1 for the Bears, 86. Cashman, Minnesota, 80. Campbell for the Lions, 79. Now, if you took out his first 5 or 6 games of his rookie year, I actually would have had him at about an 83. So he would have been the second best middle linebacker in the division. But you got to count all the games, not just some of the games. Pace Jr. for Minnesota, is next and last out there with 75. So go with that. All right, left outside linebacker. Again, not a lot of great ones here. You're going to notice that throughout the division. The linebacking core is not solid. It is not great. Turner, Minnesota, as a rookie, I had him as the best at 78. Barnes, Detroit, 75. And then tied between Packers, Wilson, and Bears, Sanborn at 70. So you're noticing some trends here between all of the teams. All right, let's go to nose tackle, defensive tackle, however you want to term it. Clark from the Packers, he is elite. I got him at a 90. Reeder, almost elite. Really, the only thing I knocked him down by from keeping him from being one of the elite players in the league is the fact the last 2 years he's been out with so many injuries. So I had to hold that against him. Number 3, the third best defensive tackle in the division, Aleem McNeil. Detroit Lions fans know him, 83 overall. Phillips, Minnesota, 79. 5, tied with both the Bears, Billingsley, and Dexter from the Packers. So you're noticing with the Packers, while they have some real strengths, they do have some weaknesses on that defense. And some of that is they do have some younger guys out there. All right, let's go to the right end. Number 1, and I didn't think it was really that close. Aiden Hutchinson is the best right end in the entire division, and you could even argue in the NFL. I had him as elite, especially if you go by the last month and a half of the regular season plus the playoffs. He's elite at a 90. Smith, Packers, 82. Tillery, Minnesota, 73. And then Martin, Bears, 72. So there you go. Now, let's go to the offensive side of the ball. We're going to work from right tackle all the way through the offensive line, then get to the skilled positions and the quarterback. All right, right tackle, Penei Sewell, and I don't think anybody's going to really debate this one. Detroit Lions right tackle is elite. He is near perfect. I mean, it was really nitpicky going through the film on him, finding a reason why not to make him 100 out of 100. But I have him as a 98 overall. And yeah, he could play left tackle, he could play right tackle. And I'm not going to get into the debate where he'd be better. Let's just say right tackle here and now. He's one of the top, in my opinion, one of the top 10 players in the entire NFL, and he is a near perfect score at 98. O'Neal, Minnesota, 88, nearly elite, pretty dang good. Number 3, Tom, Packers at the 78, right, Bears, 75. All right, now let's go to right guard, Zettler, Detroit Lions. And you're noticing a trend here with the offensive lines, and this probably isn't a surprise to anybody who's really watching this, who's an NFL fan or an NFC North fan. Zettler, Lions, 89, nearly elite. I think if you go back to maybe like 3 years ago, he's probably in the 90s, and he is elite. Jenkins, Packers, 82. Ingram, Minnesota, 72. Morgan, Packers. You notice there's not a bear up there. So I did not grade the right guards, at least currently, very high. So that's not a mistake. That's not a miscue on my behalf. It's just I don't have that right guard very high. But anyways, Morgan's Packers at 70. All right, let's see. Center Ragnow, Lions, 95. Yes, I think he's the second best center in the whole league to me. Number 2, Bradbury, Vikings at a 77. Bates, Bears, 73. Myers, Packers, 70. So you are noticing with the Packers and the Bears, offensive lines aren't their strengths. The Minnesota Vikings do have some really nice parts of their offensive line. And then they have some other parts that aren't the greatest. Left guard, Jenkins, Packers, 87. Number 2, Glasgow Lions. And I guess I don't have a score. Hold on. Let me just get it off my sheets. Sorry, guys. I was shotgunning to write these all down and get them over to the screen. So if something got left out, I apologize. Left guard, survey says, if I can find it on my sheets here. Yeah, gotta love going live sometimes. All right, left guard, Glasgow Lions, 80. There you go, 80. So he's good. He's just not elite by any means. All right, tied for number 3, Risner Vikings and Davis Bears, both at 75. Left tackle, Darsal, Minnesota. And like I said, Minnesota Vikings do have some nice talent on that line, just not all across the board. Packers and Bears, I think they've got some real question marks on those offensive lines. All right, Minnesota Vikings, like I said, Darsal, 93, so he is elite. Taylor Decker, Lions, 88, so nearly elite, but not quite there. Jones with the Bears, 77. Walker, Packers, 76. All right, let's go to the wide receiver room. And I could have spent all day grading these guys, but I didn't want to have Jen get mad at me too much. So Jefferson, Minnesota, probably not a lot of debates here. He's a perfect player as far as a grading standpoint. He's 100 out of 100. He's probably actually over 100. He's just tough to stop in any situation. You got to have 2 guys, maybe 3 guys crowd him, and even then, doesn't mean you're going to stop him. All right, number 2 in the division, Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions at 96. Allen, Bears, 91, and I get a lot of people are going to, Scooby-Doo him or whatever, kind of throw shade at him, throw rocks at him. I get he's 1,000 years old, but until he gets out there and shows he's really lost a step, I still think he's elite. Now, you're also going to notice number 4 in the division is the Chicago Bears, DJ Moore. I have him also as elite because remember, on my rankings, anything in the 90s, 90 or above, you're elite. The 80 through 89, you're dang good, and obviously the closer you get to 90, you're nearly an elite player. But yes, DJ Moore, and even you get St. Brown talking about it earlier this week, saying he's probably the most underappreciated receiver he's aware of in the entire NFL. Jameson Williams, I think there'll be a lot of people who will throw rocks at my windshield. If you're not a Lions fan on this one, they're going to say, man, you got him graded way too high. Hey, that's how it goes. I watched him, and especially if you watch him throughout the season, the progression, I would argue by the time he hits the playoffs last year, he is an elite wide receiver. Doesn't mean he's the best in the league, but I would have put him at a 90. But I've also got to factor in those first couple games and such, and all that stuff that he didn't play, and then the games when he did get in, he was good. He just wasn't great. So I kind of went middle of the road there with it. And I said, hey, we're going to go ahead and give him an 85. So he's got potential. And I really do believe about middle of the season, we're going to all across the NFL, national media, YouTube media, whatever, consider him an elite wide receiver. And then Addison, Minnesota, 82. So go with that. Oh, going the wrong way there. Got to go to tight ends here. Sam Laporta. And I had a big debate watching this one and really trying to be fair and accurate, not be biased here with these opinions. I did go with Laporta, number 1 in the division. If Hockenson would be able to go right off the bat this year, which he's not, I probably would have nudged him slightly ahead of Sam Laporta, but he's not going to be able to play right away this year. So because of that, in splitting hairs, I said Laporta's elite at a 90. He's got to work on his run blocking a lot more. He's good, way better than TJ Hockenson was as a rookie. His route running is a heck of a lot more crisp, too, than TJ Hockenson as a rookie. I mean, let's just face it. Sam Laporta is going to end up being a very rare player. The fact that you came into the league elite, and that's what he is. TJ Hockenson, I think he's pretty dang good. I still think he's not great in run blocking. I got him at 88. Komet Bears, 83. And Musgrave, Packers, 71. So, again, you're seeing with the Packers, some strengths, some real weaknesses. Some guys that got to prove themselves. And you could go and say that with the Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. What you can say with the Lions is they're pretty strong across the board. There is no glaring weakness that we've seen yet. All right, running backs. I'm going to go with number 1, Josh Jacobs, Packers at 89. He's nearly elite. I think he was elite once upon a time. Maybe he can tap back into that and get there again. Aaron Jones, Minnesota, 88. Gibbs, Lions, 87. Montgomery, Lions, 84. And then Swift, Bears, 83. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think. I think if Gibbs actually got the Lions' share of the reps, I think he would probably be closer to a grade of a 93. And but the other part of that is if you gave him all those extra reps, you probably would be limiting his career. So like most running backs, they don't hold up well long term. All right, so quarterbacks. Number 1, Goff, 86. Love, 84. Williams, and yes, I had him at nearly an 80. The only factor with him is what will he do when he faces real NFL defenses? Jared Goff, hey, I get there's naysayers about him. There's people that say he's not elite, he's not top 10. I disagree, and just trying to be as non-biased as I can be. When watching the film, how many real big errors or mistakes does he make? Everybody makes a few. Everybody, fumbles the ball. Everybody, throws picks. But really, outside of a 3-game stretch last year, I thought he was in the top 5 in the league. That 3-game stretch with the Chicago Bears, I guess you could say both games against Chicago Bears and then Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving Day. Outside of those games, I thought he played at an NFL MVP conversation level. Not going to say he was the MVP, just in the conversation. Jordan Love, it was a tale of 2 halves of the season. The first 8 games or so, I thought he was terrible. After that, you could see he really gained confidence, and that young Packers team really started to develop and grow. Caleb Williams already kind of talked about Sam Darnold. Hey, I think this guy's been kind of given a bad setup throughout his entire career. This is a real opportunity for him to play with some elite offensive players. Maybe he will resurrect himself and improve upon the score, but until he does improves it, can't give him something higher. Special teams I didn't really want to dive on into. I'm just going to say this. I think the Lions, and not trying to be biased, I think the Lions have the best punter in the division, maybe even in the NFL. As far as kicker, I wasn't going to watch all the different films to really fairly analyze those guys, so I didn't want to do it. So to be fair to everybody, I didn't do it. So, all right, real quick, let's go over to the comment section, see what you guys have to say. Probably, like I said, try to do something a little bit different for a video today and see what you guys have to say. Robert, whoop, how you doing? Woo, how you doing? Walt, what's up, Coach? Not too much. How about you? Walt, hit the like button for Dan of the Dew Crew. Woo, and thanks for that, Walt. Lions have to be number 1 and Goff number 1. So let's talk about that, because I knew I at least was assuming somebody would ask. As far as just overall talent in the division, the Lions, in my opinion, and the hard part is being a Lions content creator, it's not going to sound genuine, but I think they've got more depth and sound depth than any other team in the division. The offensive line, you've got elite players. Defensive line, elite players. Now let's move out from there. Tight end, elite, I would say yes. Wide receivers, I believe you're going to have 2 elite wide receivers. St. Brown, nobody's going to argue with. I think Jameson Williams, everybody's wanting to see. But again, we're going to last year and watching the last couple of games before the playoffs and then the playoffs. I think he is elite at that point. And I think the defensive coordinators throughout the NFL confirmed that with how they changed their defensive coverages on them. That, to me, was the compelling factor. So I'm going to say Detroit, has got 2. Now we go to the other side of the ball, go to linebackers. Everybody in the division's weak there. I just don't think, Chicago's probably got the best overall linebackers there currently today before, they play any games. But I don't think it's glaringly ahead of anybody else. Secondaries, there are some teams with some better singular players than the Detroit Lions. There's no doubt about that. And I've already talked about it, so I won't beat it to death. But if you go through player 1 through 6, Detroit, in my opinion, is vastly better than anybody else in the division. Running backs, there's a couple of teams I think that have slightly better singular running backs, where Detroit has the better grouping of running backs. So to me, that's the other part of it. I graded a couple guys, like I said, for the Bears and Packers slightly better, but that's also because they're getting the workload. And, so I had to take some points off here and there, whatever you want to say. As far as the safeties and whatever, you heard me talk about it, but I think throughout the board, quarterback through punter, and I guess that's how you could take it. Detroit has easily the deepest team of anybody in the division and potentially the most talent. All right, Bo, do crew, exclamation point. We are the top-ranked boxing of the North. Let's bash them Rams like the Pack and crazy barbarians. There we go. Oh, yeah, I'll go with all that, the above there, Bo. Lions, yeah, that's all right. I already told you guys, I was going to be late. But no problem, Coach. We're here. Thank you. Yeah, and again, I know it took about an extra 10, 12 minutes to get everything ready, but typing all that stuff, trying to look for errors. I did see 1 or 2 problems in there, but did the best I could. I probably should have just scheduled it a little bit later out, but live and learn. Say, Walt, absolutely, Coach. Thanks for that. Robert, always worth the wait. Thanks for that. CG, what do you got? You're late? Yes, I was, man. Yes, I was indeed. JK, let's flipping go. No worries about that. Let's see. Michigan made no place to go, nothing to do. All right. Well, hey, come on in and tell me what your thoughts are on the topics. Today, I'm watching the MST 3K Marathon channel while I wait for the show to start. All right, you're going to have to tell me what that is because I don't have a clue, man. Michigan made the Lions are the number 1 team and haven't played a game yet. I would agree with that right now for sure, but they're going to have to hold on to that come next week when everything starts. Miles Margaret, hi, y'all. Taking a break from moving the woods back out to the Tard. Laughing out loud. What's up? I was just giving some rankings. Don Berg, Coach Dan, should I eat a salad and pick out with chicken, spaghetti, and grilled sausage? I would, man. It's the weekend, man. Go splurge and enjoy yourself. Bo, sitting at home talking to Joe, nothing to know where to go. Fair enough. Michigan made, even though they lost in the NFC Championship and didn't make it to the Super Bowl, the Lions are still number 1. Now that's the great spirit to have, man. See, Dave, what do you got? I think I smell a Broski Bear at alt account. Maybe. Always. It does seem to be a few around. See, Bo, on any given Sunday, that is correct. Anybody can win, anybody can lose. That's also a pretty good movie. Miles Margaret, anyone going to watch the Thursday night game? I will, man. I went to school at KC, so I'll be cheering for the Chiefs. Fair enough, man. Yeah, I'm just going to be watching just to see some football, man. Michigan made it. I'm going to watch it because I'm a football fan. There you go. Dominic, hello from Texas. How you doing today, man? How's the temperature down there? Hopefully it's cooling down a little bit for you guys. Miles Margaret, Skipper's half butt woo. Always makes me laugh. Yeah, he does a great job with that. Kurt Steele, what up, though, man of Steel? How you doing? Mike the Marine Gunny, howdy Dan and Duke Crew. Woo, woo. How you doing there, Gunny? Hopefully a great day. See, Michael D, hello, Coach and Duke Crew. What's up, Doe? Thanks, Coach, for all you do. Oh, yeah, anytime, man. I enjoy stuff like this, especially if I get to watch film, break things down, and analyze it. It gives Jen a little time to go out and work on her stuff or her social media so I can kind of break away and do stuff. But this took, like I said, a week or two to be fair with things, to watch enough video to where I felt like I could accurately assess people and apologize for not doing the kickers or the punters, man. But I'm just not going to watch that much film to try to get that information. I'm glad you guys like it, though. Miles, okay, Coach, going to sit back and take it all in. Let me know what your thoughts are. Shane, how's it going, everyone? Not too bad. How about you? Scott, number 1, Lions. Number 2, Packers, based on more experience than number 3, Chicago and Vikings. So if you want my season record predictions for them, you have to wait to the end of this video. See, Don, Broski Bear, watching the Gordon as the best strong safety in the world. There you go. Robert, ban him. Ban who? Which one am I banning? Who am I banning? Let's see, Mike the Marine Gunny. Thanks, Coach Dan Thornton, for your effort and time spent on this analysis. Salute to you and a woo for Ric Flair. You know what? Just for you, man. Just for that. Hey. And for legal purposes, I cannot divulge if that is or is not Ric Flair, just some guy with a blonde wig. All right, yada yada bad up, bad butt. What do you got? What up, though, Coach? Can I get a woo woo woo? You know what? Just for you, you ask, you shall receive. Always here to make people happy, man. Don Bird, no, laughing out loud. Mile marker, woo. Bo, I totally get your breakdowns, Coach. Hey, I'm glad it makes sense to somebody. When I talk to Jenna Bottom, she just stares at me and blinks. All right, yada yada badass. Don Burr, woo woo. I Coach, give Don a Sheila. Woo woo woo. All right, you want a Sheila? I'll give you a Sheila. All right, now I just got to find the Sheila. All right. Artur, with the introduction of Tim Patrick, Lions fans are going to go bonkers when it becomes glaring. Not only did we not fix the wide receiver, we have someone game ready, wide receiver too. Here's what I'd say. And again, Patrick's got to go out and prove it. But watching just his preseason stuff, anything I could see, and most of it's going to be before the injuries, he could be a big plus, or he could be nothing for the team. I do stand in my comments about Jameson Williams, watching the game tape, and more importantly, watching how the defensive coordinators change from the start of the year, the middle of the year, to the playoffs, and how they defend him. And I'm saying the start of his season, not the start of the season for the Detroit Lions. All right, Robert, intensity plus confidence plus 3 Mountain Dews equals Lions Talk. Dan's Lions Talk Live. Dominates all of you tube shows. Hey, thanks for that. Dominate. I try to do what I can and just have a good time. Our Detroit Lions are by a mile and best offense in the NFL with the addition of Patrick. He looked at full speed in preseason. Yeah, that's where I agree with you. I think his upside, how quickly is he going to get out on the field with Lions? That I can't answer, man. But I will say this. You add him, and what I think you're going to get with some crossing patterns with him, where basically legal screens, some DBs and man coverage running into that body. That's where I think if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm going to have a whole lot of fun with it. Plus, when they, depending on how they negotiate those bumps or screens, when he comes off it, you're going to probably have a big pocket to throw into where you can hit him. He could do some big damage to other defenses. All right, Artur, Robert Sleen is starting his meetings with anecdotes and poets and philosophers. Dan Campbell tosses a fresh dough kill into the center and says, "Go eat, boys." Game 1 pre-game speech. There you go. I'm down with that, man. I'm down. Robert, howdy do, crew. Painted half the deck floor and I'm out of gas. Oh, yeah. Well, hey, you got half done. Save the rest for another time. Chris, Lions are going to ram it down LA's throats. I've got another video about that, but I'll save that for tomorrow. I'll do my predictions of the games and all that kind of stuff. Season prediction. Could be a good time to set your VCRs or recorders or whatever, because there could be a Dan O'Damas sighting in the next 24 hours. Mike the Marine, Gunny, smash the thumbs up. Yes, if you would, please. There are about 200 people watching. If you could, that'd be great. Artur, if Jonah Jackson ends up sliding to center, what a disaster trade, overpaid by $5 to $6 million a year. He might have to, man, just out of necessity for them. And hey, first time out there playing a new position in some high opportunity, high energy environment. Yeah, that could work for the Lions. Yada, yada. Aiden Hutchins should be 100, but 90 is disrespectful, even though 90 is great. I'm down with that, man. I knew, hey, people are going to have different opinions. It's okay, man. Throw them out there. Artur signing, not trade. Yeah. I knew where you were going with that, man. Brent, if the Staffords thought the boos were allowed last game, then Kelly's probably going to lose it next Sunday night. And I hope for them sakes, and I've said it after that game, I thought it was a bad move by the Staffords, and I hope they learn from it. Do not have those kids out on the field. If you've never been on a NFL field as media or whatever, I can tell you it's not a great thing to do to bring people. I remember there was one friend of mine. She was a female photographer. She came out there with me, and she was just there to take pictures while I was also taking pictures on the field. And, man, just people were bombing, pops at her, popcorn and stuff, just doing stuff that people do after drinking. Now imagine a playoff atmosphere where you're the quarterback for the team that could potentially stop you from getting the franchise's first playoff win in 30 years. Those kids had to be getting pelted, and there's nothing really security can do. How many things, shards of popcorn are you going to track down? Plus people yelling out whatever about the Staffords and those kids. I hope they protect the kids. Moving on from that. Let's see, Arthur, laughing out loud. I actually didn't mind her or Stafford, but it's a real rivalry now. It's so much deeper than even fans get. Brad Holmes built that Super Bowl team, and it was Matt LaFleur's offense. It's probably also true. Good points. Brett, you know it, and I know there's booing. Yes, booing. Let's see, Arthur McVay threw Goff under the bus, and it's glaring now with Goff's play. Yeah, and Goff apparently wasn't the problem. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, man. See, I think drafting a QB early in the first round without having at least a decent offensive line in front of him is incredibly ill-advised. I agree. And as much of a USC fan and a Caleb Williams fan as I have been the last few years, I do have some concerns, especially once I sat down and tried to be neutral and just watch the different components, give the grades. The Bears' offensive line better supersede some expectations. They do have some offensive weapons. But you're going to ask a young quarterback who's not used to those pre-snap and post-snap adjustments to be able to read, aggressive defenses. There's a high probability you could get that kid, shell-shocked pretty quick. See, Brett Donbird, just don't boo the little kids. Well, we'll see what happens. All right, guys, I'm not going to, I'll get a couple more here. Yada, yada, badass, 96 for Brown is disrespectful as well. He should be 99 or 100. Hey, it happens, man. It happens. I have to try to nitpick, especially as a Lions grader. I probably graded the Lions a little bit more harshly than other teams, just so nobody would call me a homer. So, I get it, man. Arturo agreed. Laporta blocking is a B- or C+. Yeah, for a rookie, he wasn't horrible, but you can see it's something he's got to improve upon. See, Artur, any sweep and motion blocking seems to be Laporta's Achilles heel and weak spot. Yeah, I'm assuming they've worked on him with him, but if not, then he's just going to basically make his living off, average blocking for an NFL tight end standards and more or less just a glorified big receiver coming out of the tight end spot. See, Don, leave the kids with the babysitters. Yeah, either that or get a room for them up top in Ford Field. See, Brent Laporta mentioned about working on his blocking. We'll have to see if it pays dividends. Yeah. And again, most of this I was basing off of, prior season films. I got a little bit of film of them with joint workouts with the Giants and a couple things to practice, but it is a vastly different world once that, first kickoff goes off. Things are much faster. Artur, I'm certainly not going to dog Caleb. Great talent, love his confidence, but the dude in college wasn't afraid to put his wide receivers in harm's way a lot. I agree with that. Let's see how it goes with that. All Keelan gets. That, and I would also say he comes off his first read a lot and then runs the backside or weak side of the offensive line. He splits the C gap. So if I'm looking, here's option one to pass. And let me do this reverse here since the screen's reverse. But let's say I'm looking over here to pass and I don't see it first read. Then I'm going backside between the guard typically and the tackle to get out and leak. I just don't think he's going to make a living in the NFL doing that. See, Brent, good point. Artur, Keenan already not too pleased with the limited role coming. If all he gets is more of Herbert leading and cracking skull and a fewer catches, he's moody. Yeah, and he's long enough in his career where he probably isn't looking to get that kind of physical abuse anymore. All right, Detroit Sports Talk. Levi is going to have a big year. I agree, but I didn't put him in the list. I just didn't think he was going to be. To be fair, I did not list him as one of the top 5 or 6 interior defensive tackles in the division yet, but that doesn't mean he couldn't be by the halfway point of the season or the end of the year. Detroit Sports Talk, who are star players the Lions cannot afford to lose during the season? Goff. I think outside of that, you could probably schematically, if you start losing 4 or 5, 6 guys, that's different. But if it's one guy and it's not your quarterback, I think you can scheme some people open. There's enough talent here. It may be different, but you could probably survive it. Brent, I thought Keenan was a little reach. It could be. See, Arturo, the secondary now has guys that, along with Alex, can get hands at the line and behind the line of scrimmage and help with contain we struggling with all season. It could be. Arturo, Detroit Sports Talk. I'm Tim Patrick. Yeah, I like Patrick. I think that could end up being a real good move for us. See, Arturo, if he stays healthy and plays like he did in preseason, which is where he left off on the last snap he played in 2021. Brad Holmes just stole to wide receiver number 2. Yeah, if he ends up being that guy, and Jameson really is what I grade him as being towards the end of last year, this Detroit offense could be just scary good. If the offensive line gives time, If Goff gets on average, say 2.5 to 3.5 seconds to throw, I think they're just gonna destroy most defenses are gonna see. Shane, very hot. You gotta like it. I like spicy food myself. Troy, what do you got? What's up, Coach and Duke Crew? We are still a week away from the start of the dominance. Yes, and I think we're gonna dominate our way to the Super Bowl. Miles Mark, Coach, I think you did well here, but we'll have to rewind and watch again. That's the tough part, man. All I can do is I try to be as analytical as a scout as I would be, just like if I was going out on a contract to scout some guys or something like that. I try to just break down the film, watch things, and go from there. All right, see, Artur, I've got an amazing post by Mike Schrader about the Lions stealing Tim Patrick. If anyone interested, I'll check it out, man. Leave a comment in the comment section once this is done posting. I'll check it out. And Dr. Detroit, woo! There we go. Artur, he will be an amazing decoy for Jameson and Amon-Ra. Yeah, I think, especially with Ben Johnson and stuff he likes to use. I will also say this. I think there's some clues from the preseason that Penei Sewell may be a little bit more involved in the passing game. Not that we haven't seen him out there before, but maybe more so. Let's see. Artur, he's like 101% team guy. I know about as much as Lions. I'm seeing him as the role player who puts us over that Chark and Reynolds were not. They were never locker room guys, more pro guys. Okay, I'm down with that. Artur, but again, he has to stay healthy, of course. Vern, who should the Lions start at cornerback and safety? If it was me right now, just because if Emmanuel Mosley wasn't hurt, it probably would have been Davis, Mosley, Robinson for me for week one, just so you have veterans out there at the cornerback spot. Safety, there's no way Brian Branch isn't going on that field because he is a massive playmaker. And then it's probably Kirby Joseph because I don't want Brian Branch single high safety. I want Kirby Joseph playing to his strength. Kirby Joseph is great at that. He's not so great at other stuff. So play him to his strength. Let Brian Branch come up, roam around, blitz, basically be a weak side backer. You notice I didn't give great grades to our linebacker core and be another coverage guy out there. A problem for an offense. All right, let's see, Dr. Troy. Do people remember we have a Amon-Ra, J-Mo, Laporta to feed the ball, not to mention Gibbs? Yeah, we've got a ton of weapons. And if Patrick ends up emerging as well, there's only so many guys who can double and stop. The Big M, the decoy is the offense is J-Mo. Most of the time, J-Mo will draw a safety over the top. Yes, I agree. Patrick's going to eat because of the attention J-Mo will get. Yeah, and once somebody else starts eating too much, that's the tough spot defense is going to be in. If Goff gets, like I was saying, 2.5 to 3.5, I just don't see a defense out there that's going to stop us regularly. Yada, yada. All right, Coach, you can find the Kool-Aid. Oh, yeah, man, and add it to the list. I'm on it, man. Oh, yeah, Artur, especially with the backstory, you can't live in a fairy tale land just because you want to feel like you're not a fairy tale. It's not real. Lions Den, not fairyland. Fair enough. Let's see, Bo, Rams O-line is disarray. Boom, boom, out to the lights. Yeah, and that's why I almost wonder if they think that line's really bad and if the game starts getting away from them, you're probably, if you're Detroit, you're forcing them to get Stafford out of the game just to protect him for their season. Week one, if you're getting beat up, you don't want him getting beat up. Big M, it absolutely could turn out that way. Laughing out loud. You said it, not me. I'm also thinking it, but I think for his confidence, J-Mo is fed early, and if he does well, it's going to be a J-Mo year. I agree. Dave, don't forget to give the video a like, y'all. Yeah, if you can, subscribe and hit the like button. All right, a couple more, and then I'm out of here. I got to get back to Jen and hanging out. Let's see, Great Lakes, good afternoon. Secret weapon, glitter nail polish. It's distracting. There you go. Joseph C., good evening, Lieutenant Dan and Duke Crew. Go Lions, one more week, and it's on. I agree with that, and thanks for that, man. Great Lakes, Keenan Allen is so big now, he could switch to linebacker. He might have to switch to offensive line with the way I graded the Bears line. Let's see, Brent, thanks, Coach. One Pride, thank you for that. Bo, happy trails. Let's see, Jay Mams, what do you got? Amon-Ra and Laporta can both draw double coverage. All they need is someone to make a play outside them. I agree with that. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I think I try to get just about anyone in. Let's see, Great Lakes. Any news on Iffy yet? Nothing yet. My guess is we'll probably get some news Tuesday. All right, guys, if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. If you could, hit the thumbs up button as you're checking on out. It helps the channel out a lot. Otherwise, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Happy trail.